All right, Shalom. I want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto you. How about Shema Shabbat, Shema Kakodash, double honor to the apostle and elders, great millstone. Shalom to the author, Akim out there pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. Yeah, this statement from the President Zelensky: if Ukraine loses, America's will have to send their sons and daughters to war, and they will be dying. I just watched the actual video clip, which I could go ahead and click.
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war, and they will have to fight because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying, God forbid, because it's a horrible thing.
So, we in those times, things are getting more aggressively. The contentions and things are getting more aggressive overseas, as far as the war in the Russia and Ukraine, with the United States funding Ukraine is basically a third party, damn near like a proxy war, and we don't know how long this war is going to take place, but Russia is definitely going to exhaust all resources to make sure that they occupy and take over this land, which is going to make it where the United States has to put their troops down, man. They've invested too much into this war, all these different aids of millions upon millions of dollars that's been sent to Ukraine. We're already at that point where they can't retract, and the Lord is forcing the hand of these different kings and which in today's times they would be your presidents and prime ministers, but the Lord is forcing the hand of them to go to war. We in war times. I'm gonna go a little bit more into this article. Zelensky says it's dangerous for Americans to question the amount of aid being given to Ukraine, because if Ukraine loses, Russia is going to enter Baltic states, NATO member states, and the U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters to war, and they will be dying. Yeah, so, which is the honest truth. A lot of people are pissed off that America's sending all this money to Ukraine, but it's going to get to a certain point. They don't understand that they're going to have to actually send people to Ukraine. People are resources. People are the driving force of the result to war. And you have President Biden, as well as his staff, that's avoiding this face-to-face war with Russia at all costs. They're trying to avoid and come up with alternatives rather than direct conflict, because if it goes all the way around buzzing as a fact that we're in war with Russia, everybody's gonna know we're on WW3. So people are gonna prepare accordingly. Right now, they want to keep the masses of the people in that state of euphoria, keep them in a state of docileness, keep them entertained, and they're trying to buy time, But at the end of the day, it's gonna be hands are gonna be forced, man. Which I've been Lord willing speak on. China, is in conflicts too. So hands. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Taiwan, hands are definitely being forced. But I'll go a little bit more. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen made a surprise visit to meet with Zelensky on Monday after pledging to send Ukraine another $10 billion in U.S. aid. Yeah, I was saying millions, but it's really billions in aid. Sec Yellen visits Ukraine to discuss critical economic assistance and our efforts to hold Russia accountable for their illegal and brutal war. The neocons running the Biden regime have stated repeatedly that their goal with shipping Ukraine billions of dollars in U.S. weapons is to drag the war out for as long as possible and fuel a long insurgency against Russia. See, like I just said, they're trying to, stretch it out. So far, the U.S. has pledged over $100 billion from the United States taxpayers to drag out the war. But like I said, it's gonna get to the point where these two superpowers, they have to clash. You can only drag this war out so long. You know, America's exhausting a lot of resources, as well as Ukraine. You know, to fight this war, and Russia's not willing to back down. You know, we're already at that point. You know, the Lord is putting the spirit on these nations to, you know, get active with one another. But this is Ezekiel the 38th chapter. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith the Lord power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn, and that represents Russia, all right? And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields. And that's what they got, bucklers and shields. It's a large army that's been deployed to Ukraine, you know, and after this is all said and done, it's going to continue to progress. You know, they spoke about the Baltic, you know,